What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, just another PokeTuber, coach of your Piedmont Tribe Kickers, coming at you today with Season 6 of the BHDL. This is my draft analysis. Last season we shook it up a little bit by doing an Ubers format as opposed to I guess you can call it like a regular, like low tier, mid tier Terra format, or whatever you want to call it. So this time around, it is just a straight up low tier format. Not even like, I think in the past you could have defined it as like mid tier Terra, but you still have like all the strong Pokemon like Valiant, Cinderace, Greninja, Meowscarada. This time around, none of those guys are in. So yeah, like low tier, like low tier. Besides it being low tier, this time around, some other things that have changed from last season is we have 105 points as opposed to the 115 we had last season. And I want to say last season the amount of Pokemon was like 9 to either it was 9 to 11 or it was 9 to 12. I think it might have been. Part of me wants to say it was probably 11, but part of me also feels like it might have been 12. Obviously, this time around that was 10 to 11. So well, not even 10 to 11. It's 10 or 11. We have 11 points to draft 1 or 2 Terra Captains as opposed to last season with the 18. Wait, was it 18? It might have been a little more than 18. Actually, I think it was like 25. I think it was 25 last season because Cinderace was 18 points and we had Terra Cinderace. But this time around, only mons that are 6 points and below can Terra. And we're not doing open team preview. We're just doing 3 Terra types. So, pick a types. Yeah, they'll just rock with it week by week. We have 9 weeks of regular season before playoffs. So just expect to see us for the next 12 weeks. Lock in. Upload is not required, but the fact that I'm making this video, well, you guys know. So in regards to the draft order, I ended up being in the 11th spot. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't in the 16th. Bro, they put me in 11th just to prove that it's not rigged. But the fact you put me in 11th to prove that it's not rigged just proves how rigged this draft order really is. And trust me, I'm a commissioner. I would know. But you don't gotta listen to me if you don't want to. But I'm telling you, it's rigged. But anyway, we ended up in 11th place. I absolutely hated it, if I'm being honest. We got sniped like 16 times, but at the same time, we get sniped all the time in BHDL. It's specifically this league where I just cannot catch a break when it comes to snipes, so I'm kind of not surprised. It is what it is, though. But anyway, I feel like we still managed to make the best out of this spot. So for my first round draft pick, I really wanted Petrarunt. Got sniped. So I decided, okay, my first round pick got sniped. Let's go for the second round pick. So Mr. Gudre Sui sniped. That could have been a sick combo, Petrarunt and Gudra, but well, that's not what happened. So I figured out some replacements to them. I just had to figure out like what order I wanted to get them in, and so what I decided to do was go for the Mon I felt like was less likely to make it back to me, and that Mon was none other than Gudra. So, we couldn't get Gudra Isui. Got the next best thing. So Gudra costing me 18 points. Now we got 87 points left. Gudra has pretty great stats. I mean, it is a pseudo legendary after all. So 90 HP, 100 attack. The defense leaves a little bit to be desired, but it does get like acid armor, I think. So it boosts its defense by 2. Also gets cursed, so it can set up on the physical side and then boost its defense at the same time. And it does have 100 attack, like I just said. So, we can do something with that. 110 special attack, its special size was mostly known for, though. And it's also known for this 150 SPDF stat. Like, this thing is a special wall, like through and through. 80 speed, so it's not the fastest, but it's not the slowest. It's slow enough to function in, like, Trick Room or something, but it's also fast enough that, like, if you get, like, a -1 like speed drop on something because of GUI, there's a good chance we can outspeed it. And we also get Sap Super as an ability, so these are the 2 abilities we be jumping through. Gudra has a pretty like wide move pool, very colorful. Like Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Surf, and then of course the stronger versions of those moves like Hydro Pump, Fire Blast, Thunder. Dragon Pulse, Draco. Gets good utility moves like Knock Off, Dragon Tail for phasing things out if you want to set hazards and stuff with like one of our other Pokemon. It also gets access to Toxic, and Toxic really helps, like it really benefits the second Mon we got, because the second Mon I got is like, it likes to use Hex a lot. And speaking of second Mon I got, so I needed to replace Petrarunt, so I decided if I can't have Petrarunt, I can at least have this guy, right? We got Danny DeVito, the Skeleturge. If I didn't mention my Kyogre, not my Kyogre, my Gudra's nickname is Kyogre because I just like to mess with people like that. But we have Danny DeVito the Skeletorge. In case you guys are wondering why, take a picture of Danny DeVito and put it beside Skeletorge faces. I'm sorry. I'm giving y'all I'm giving y'all something you'll probably never be able to unsee once you see it. But hey, it is what it is. So whereas Gudra is Spadef, Skeletorge is more known for being like physically bulky because one is unaware. Has unaware for an ability, so you can't set up on Skeletorge. It also has a Will-O-Wisp, so it can pretty much cripple any setup sweeper that isn't a fire type. And even then, it gets earth power to hit said fire types. It has 104 HP with 100 defense, so pretty good physical tank because of like unaware and will-o-wisp and stuff like that. Also gets slack off to recover. 110 special attack. It's pretty good, and we can definitely take advantage of it because of its signature move Torch Song, which gives it a +1 special attack boost whenever we click it. And so yeah, this thing could easily get out of hand. And because of like Will-O-Wisp on this and then Toxic on Goodra, we can, get away with some hex sets here and there and not always have to be, and we don't have to always make him, set the status, which and then on top of that, Goodra and Skeletorge kind of complement each other defensively. Skeletorge is resistant to Ice and Fairy, whereas Goodra is super effectively hit by it. And then Goodra resists water. Um, And yeah, I think that's everything that needs to be said about Skeletor. He gets pretty cool. Like he gets like a few coverage moves that you can make. First of all, Ghost is just spammable, and the few things you can't hit with it, he does get like alluring voice to dark types, and then we do get Earth power to hit fire type super effective damage. Even though a lot of the time Shadow Ball or Hex might just do more damage, but just depends, just depends. But yeah, that's Skeletor. Happy to have you on board, Mr. Danny DeVito. So for the next round draft pick, we already got two defensive mons that have offensive potential, so it's like, okay, let's get like another defensive mon, preferably some hazards to complement Gudra's Dragon Tail. So I decided to pick up none other than Quagsire, also known as Swagsire, Quagmire, Swag Sister. It cost me 9 points. Now we got 61 points left. We have all these nicknames because I have 3 shiny Quagsires. We be switching it up. I'm not telling you guys what's the difference between all of them, but there's differences, okay? I know I only have Unaware on here for the ability, but it also gets access to Water Absorb, which can benefit Skeletorge because now you can't hit me with water moves because it gives Quagsire HP. And then since Goodra gets Sap Sipper, it can really help out Quagsire because Quagsire is only weak to grass. We have, some people would call this questionable bulk, but I just know from practice, like actually using it, it's actually pretty good bulk, mainly because of Unaware. But Water Ground's pretty good typing because you only have one weakness. Quagsire gets all the hazards, gets access to Toxic. It can also heal itself with Recover, and and then Water and Ground are, like I said, it's good typing. So we can. Just for chip damage, we can like run stuff to like, hit things like Earthquake, Earth Power, Surf, Chilling Water, so, oh yeah, I forgot it does get Chilling Water. So granted, it doesn't benefit from Chilling Water because if we run Unaware, then we ignore the drops. But of course, if we're the other ability, Water Absorb, we can make, use of that. But you guys get the idea. That could really help out. Like dropping attack stats could really help out Goodra and stuff. So yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Goodra can also help Skeletor out because Goodra does get Acid Spray, but let's not get into that. But yeah, that's Quagsire. Next on the team roster, I decided to finally pick up my first Terror Captain because it was advised to me by a friend. This mon might not make it back to me because he pointed out how all the spinners were like starting to get gone, and I was like, okay, let me not be the one to lose this guy because for my first Terror Captain, I wanted to pick up none other than Komala. So my 3 Terror types are normal for like stab damage. We don't have to run a stab type, but I chose to do that. I have Ground, so I can boost Earthquake. It's a pretty spammable move for the most part. And then we also have Ghost for, I think, obvious reasons. This thing hits hard, dude. 115 attack. Like he's kind of like you kind of sleep on him. My Kamala is nicknamed Reginald. If you don't know who Reginald is, I advise you watch American Dad. He has Comatose for the ability, so on top of not being able to set up on me because of the double Unaware, you also can't really status me because of Comatose. You can't really status me because of Comatose. Excuse my dog. But yeah, you cannot, like I just said, you can't status me. And then also, because Skeletor, he does get, he's a fire type, so you can't whisk me. So, we can, It's kind of hard to status this team. You guys get the idea? This thing is pretty good on the SPDF side because it's 65 HP with 95 SPDF. You know, HP ain't the best, but he does get Wish, so Kamala can heal himself in theory. 65 defense is not the best, but you can get around it with Skeledirge's Whisk, and then Kamala does get bulk up to boost that defense stat. And then it also gets rapid spin to boost its speed. I know from experience that if you run speed on Kamala and then and get like +1, you basically outspeed anything that's 105 speed or below. And in this format, there's really not a whole lot of like super fast Pokemon, so sometimes that might be all we need. It also has a pretty cool, like pretty colorful move pool since it is a normal type. So you know we have Seed Bomb, Knockoff, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Play Rough. You know you get Flail, Body Slam. What's the other move? Rapid Spin. For some reason, I think this is a joke by freaking Game Freak. He does get Facade, even though you can't status him. I think it's like a whole joke. But yeah, Kamala gets a lot of stuff. I want to say he also gets Woodhammer and Ice Spinner. So yeah, pretty colorful move pool. But yeah, hopefully we get a lot out of Mr. Reginald this season. I honestly think he's one of the best Terra Captains on the board. Next on the team roster, I didn't want Kamal to be my only hazard remover since he is going to be a Terra Captain. So we decided to pick up none other than Pink Instinct the Manabuzz, who can help us remove hazards. Now, ideally, in most situations, I will just have Komala do it. It just depends if we're hazard stacking or not. Because if we're not hazard stacking someone that week, then okay, we can just run Manabuzz. But even then, Manabuzz also, like Skeledirge and Quagsire, deter setup because okay, so I'm getting the Manabuzz's stats. It has 110 HP, 65 attack, which is terrible, but Manabuzz does get foul play, so it's stab boosted, and we're using the opponent's attack stat, so in most situations we're going to be hitting a lot harder than we should be. 105 defense, ignore the special attack stat. 95 speed F and 80 speed. We have overcoat for the ability, but this thing also gets weak armor, which I feel like could be nichely good. It costed me a lot of points, so 16 points to get this thing. I already have 39 points left, and I gotta get 5 more Pokemon, guys. Dark Flying type, so pretty good typing, and it also helps Skeledirge out because I did need a strong Dark type. And then something else I forgot to mention about Quagsire, since it's a ground type, it does also resist Rock, which helps Skeledirge, and I guess helps Manabuzz as well. Manabuzz gets Toxic as well, which can help Skeledirge, you know, just hex through things. We get Pivoting and U-Turn. We also get Roost to heal ourselves. So far, 4 out of 5 of my Pokemon can heal themselves. And then I already mentioned the fact that we get Foul Play, and I guess we could use Brave Bird if we ever really need it, but, you know, that just depends. But yeah, that is Pink Instinct, mainly here to be a hazard remover and then, you know, support the team in other ways. Yeah. Next on the team roster, so I went at Whimsicott, got sniped, and I kind of had to go for the next best thing, and this thing is so expensive, it was kind of obnoxious trying to get on the team, but hey, he's here. So for the first time in a long time ever, we're going to try this guy. Shaman, who I nicknamed Nico Robin. If you guys watch One Piece, you should know who Nico Robin is. She ate a fruit that's called it depends on the translation, it's called the flower fruit or the bloom fruit, so Shaman being like flowers in a garden, boom. Base 100 stats across the board with pure, monograss, natural cure. So between Shaman and Kamala, bro, you're just not statusing me. You're not setting up on me. You're not statusing me either. It gets pretty cool, like offensive moves. So like Leaf Blade, Seed Flare, Play Rough, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power. I don't think it gets like a physical Earth move. I know we get Air Slash as well. So you know. And in this format, 100 speed is actually not that bad, so there's gonna be good like niches for it. And then it also gets like good support moves like Leech Seed, Healing Wish. So I really wanted Whimsicott instead, but the way I looked at the situation was, well, we had an excuse to use our shiny Shaman now, right? So yeah, we got Shaman on the team. Welcome aboard, buddy. Even though you're an expensive hedgehog. Next on the team roster, we decided, maybe it's time to get our other Terra Captain. I'll be real. Originally, I had Klefki here, but then after much consideration, like, yo, you're kind of expensive. So I went for the next best thing, a Pokemon that can roughly do everything Klefki can do. It just doesn't have Prankster. So we decided to go with Dot, the Tinkatuff, who is my Terra captain. If I remember correctly, I gave this thing fire, for like defensive Terra, so like fire, steel, and flying. Because steel, like you guys know, this thing still can resist. So this thing can pretty much do everything Klefki can do, just without Prankster. We have Mold Breaker, which we could maybe use on a setups like Sword Stand set, and then we have a Pickpocket for like being annoying and removing my opponent's you know, items and stuff. The bulk is obviously not doesn't look great, but we can use Eviolite on this, and because of Eviolite, it's actually just as maybe a little bit bulkier than Klefki actually. This thing is mainly here for like utility purposes and occasional, cute SD sets maybe, but welcome aboard, Tinkatuff. Welcome aboard. It was only 3 points, and I was just like, why not? I can't really say too much about 3 point Pokemon, I'm sorry. But next on the team roster, well, we needed to start filling out the team based on stuff that we needed. So I had Ampharos here before as a Terra captain, but like I said, I had to make some changes. I noticed my team was kind of on the slow side, so we need to like start building our speed and stuff. So for the next round in this team spot, we decided to pick up none other than Thor the Raichu. So for one, this is an electric immunity which definitely benefits Mana Buzz. Two, in this format, Raichu is respectably fast and strong. 110 speed with 90 attack and 90 special attack. And then my Raichu is not only is it a legit Raichu, but homie came out the womb with Volt Tackle. So yeah guys, I can do whatever I want. I can be Volt Tackling, I can be Thunderbolting, I can do whatever I want. And then because of how fast this thing is, if I want to just Volt Switch around a team, I can. It also gets pretty cool coverage like Player of, Dazzling Gleam, Serve, knockoff for like niche, like, utility stuff, as well as like Nuzzle and Fake Out. And then also, I don't think a AV Raichu is the worst thing in the world either. So yeah, Raichu's on the team. I've been wanting to use Raichu for a while, but typically it's just hard for me to fit on the team as my electric type. I had it in SDA, but then I dropped it as a Terra captain because I wanted to use Comfey. And, I remember the first, like the 1 or 2 games I had Raichu, I thought it was kind of fun. So yeah, looking forward to having you back on the team. And this time around, I promise I will not drop you. Next on the team roster, as you guys can see, we only have 15 points left, so we have to really decide how we want to spend our points. So we have a base. So basically, on our speed tiers, we have a base 100 and a base 110. So I kind of wanted something that was faster than 110, and I decided to go with none other than Sneasel Hisui. We did need a fighting type, so this helps Skeledirge with rocks, and it helps Skeledirge and it helps Mana Buzz. We also needed a grounded poison, so people can't just set T-Spikes on us and stuff like that. We have 95 attack, 115 speed, so this thing's a pretty strong offensive threat in this particular format. We have inner focus, so we can't be intimidated. Pickpocket, so if we want to steal like items, we can. He does get like set up with sword stance, and then like strong moves like close combat and gunk shot. Albeit gunk shot, the accuracy these ought to be desired, but it's still a stab gunk shot that we can land it. So yeah, he's mainly here just to be like our speedy mon, and then if we can set him up, yeah, he can kind of go crazy. So I also wanted to fill in like the 90 speed tier because Goodra is 80. So is Mana Buzz, and then Skeletor is like really close to 70. Well, and then Tinkatuff is in the 70s, so to fill out my speed tiers and then also just to draft a really versatile mon in general, we decided to pick up none other than Oricorio. So I don't have a nickname for Oricorio yet because I don't know what I want to nickname it. Same for the Sneasel. But so in this format, we can actually use all 4 forms of Oricorio. So I have access to the Electric, Ghost, Fire, and the Psychic one. So it's basically like having a third Terra Captain. It has Dancer for the ability, so if anyone's like a setup like Quiver Dancer, yeah, let's take advantage of that. 98 special attack, 93 speed, so we can set up like, with it like Quiver Dance and stuff like that. It can be pretty useful, and then it also gets, if I'm not mistaken, you get Roost, and it might get Defog. So if it does get Defog, it's just another way to remove hazards, which could be pretty niche. I mean, pretty cool to have. But it's mainly here to fill out that 90 speed tier, and in its own right, Oricorio is a strong Pokemon, so at least that's the vibe I got when I watched Scorpion use it in season 2, I believe it was. So yeah, happy to have you on board, Oricorio. So yeah, guys, that's the team. Not really much more needs to be said. So without further ado, Hopefully I can, deliver you guys some, entertaining battles. Week one starts like 3 days from the time I post this video. And yeah, hope I can give you guys some entertaining content. If you haven't done so already, please remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace out.